Why does someone so strong spend their entire life carrying guilt? Why can Levi never free himself from the weight of the decisions he made? And more importantly, what can the way he deals with regret teach us about how to stop living trapped in the past? Because it's not about being strong. It's about learning to live with what can't be changed. Contrary to what many think, Levi isn't a completely cold character who doesn't care about others. The reality is completely different. Let's go back a bit. Levi grows up in the worst possible place within the walls, the underground. No sunlight, no structure, nothing a child would need to develop even minimally well. His mother dies early, his father never showed up, and Kenny, his uncle, teaches him to fight and survive. But when Levi finally learns to fend for himself, Kenny also abandons him and disappears without explanation. So he spends years living by force, becomes the strongest in the underground. But that doesn't bring love, doesn't bring connection, doesn't bring anything besides respect based on fear. Until he meets Farlin and Isabel. For the first time in his life, Levi has something resembling a family, something he chose, something worth protecting. And when they both die on the first Survey Corps mission, Levi collapses. He kills the Titans with a violence that's not normal even for him, because for the first time, he had something to lose, and he lost it. After this loss, something changes profoundly in Levi. He develops this obsession with cleanliness that everyone knows about. But this isn't about being meticulous by nature or having some disorder. Think about it. Levi spent his entire childhood in a filthy, chaotic place where he had control over absolutely nothing. Couldn't control whether he'd eat that day. Couldn't control whether his mother would survive. Couldn't control whether Kenny would stay or leave. And later, as an adult, he couldn't control Farlin and Isabel's deaths. So his brain does something very common in people who've gone through trauma like this. It seeks control where it can have it, and cleanliness is the simplest and most immediate way to transform chaos into order. To take something dirty, messy, and leave it clean, organized, and predictable. It's not about being picky about dirt. It's about having at least one thing in life that he can completely control. It's about creating a sense of competence in a world that constantly reminds him that he can't save everyone. Every time he cleans a weapon, organizes a space, he's basically saying, at least this I can do right. At least this won't disappoint me. And that's exactly why regret weighs so heavily on Levi, because he knows that no matter how much he cleans, how much he prepares, how much he tries to control everything, people still die. Decisions still have consequences he can't predict. After Farlin and Isabel's deaths, Erwin says something that completely shakes him.
よせ、後悔をするな。後悔の記憶は次の決断を鈍らせる。そして決断を他人に委ねようとするだろう。そうなればあとは死ぬだけだ。結果など誰にもわからないのだ。一つの決断は次の決断のための材料にして初めて意味を持つ。壁外調査は続ける。リヴァイ、お前も来るんだ。
And Levi immediately understands that if he lets regret control him, it'll be the same as handing control of his life over to the past. It'll be letting decisions he's already made decide the next ones for him. So he makes a conscious choice, not to regret. Not because he doesn't feel guilt, he does, and a lot, but because he realized that regret doesn't change anything. It only paralyzes. And in a world where hesitating for a second can cost more lives, he can't afford to be stuck in, what if I had done differently? On the outside, Levi seems cold and distant, as if nothing affects him, but that's just the way he found to keep functioning. Because if he lets all the pain he feels show through, if he shows how much each loss destroys him inside, two things happen. The first is that he becomes a burden to the core. People look at him as a symbol of strength, of stability. If he falls apart, everyone falls apart with him. The second is that it hurts more, much more. Expressing the pain, talking about it, openly acknowledging it, that makes it more real. And Levi already has enough pain. He doesn't need to make it more present than it already is. So he pushes everything down because he feels too much, but he learned that showing it doesn't help anyone, not him, not those around him. The part where it gets most interesting is the way Levi demonstrates empathy through actions. Levi may not talk about what he feels, but he shows it in other ways. He holds the hands of soldiers who are dying, tells them that their deaths weren't in vain, that he'll make sure of it. And look at this detail. He does this even with his hand dirty with blood, even though he's obsessed with cleanliness. For someone who uses cleanliness as a control mechanism, dropping that in a critical moment means there's something more important at stake. It means that person matters more than his need to keep everything in order. Levi Levi comforts people, protects those under his command, even saves civilians who hate him, who don't understand what he does, because deep down, he values each life more than anyone else in the series, precisely because he's lost so many.
お前は十分に活躍した。そして、これからもだ。お前の残した意志が、俺に力を与える。約束しよう。俺は必ず、
And then comes one of the heaviest decisions of his life. Levi followed Erwin for years, trusted him, sacrificed soldiers because he believed Erwin was essential to humanity, and when he finally has the chance to save him, to bring him back, Levi chooses not to do it, not out of cruelty, but because he realized something important. Erwin had already reached his limit, had already sacrificed everything, including his own humanity in the name of a personal dream, and bringing him back would be selfish, would be forcing an exhausted man to continue carrying a weight he shouldn't have to carry anymore. Kenny had taught him this before dying. Sometimes, the hardest thing is letting go of what you want to give peace to those you love. But that doesn't take away the pain. Levi carries the guilt of that choice too, because even knowing he did the right thing, he lost the person he respected most in the world. And then comes Aaron. Levi bet everything on that kid, protected him countless times, sacrificed soldiers to keep him alive because he believed Aaron was the key to saving humanity. And when Aaron becomes the greatest threat humanity has ever faced,
俺は進み続ける。敵を駆逐するまで。
Levi finally hesitates. For the first time in years, he doesn't know what to do, because if he's wrong about Aaron, if all those sacrifices were in vain, then what's left? What was all of this for? All the deaths, all the promises he made, all the soldiers who trusted him. And Levi hates, more than anything, the idea of meaningless deaths, because he knows what that is. He's lived it, and the possibility that nothing he did mattered is his worst nightmare. And here, Levi gives us a lesson about regret. It doesn't paralyze. Even with fear, even with doubt, he keeps acting because he understood something fundamental about regret. Regret has a function. It exists to teach you not to repeat mistakes. But when you let regret become rumination, when you get stuck in what if, you lose the ability to act in the present. Levi doesn't let that happen. He accepts that he'll carry guilt, accepts that not every decision will have the outcome he wants, but he doesn't let guilt decide for him. And he teaches this to others too. When Armin blames himself for killing someone, Levi doesn't say, "It wasn't your fault." He says, "You did what needed to be done with the information you had." When Jean questions whether he made the right decision, Levi responds, "Nobody knows. I don't know either. You can only choose what will leave you with less regret." That's acceptance. It's not conformity. It's accepting that you don't control everything, that not every decision will turn out as you planned, but that you still need to decide, and then live with it the best way possible. In the end, when Levi manages to kill Zeke and fulfill the promise he made to the soldiers who died, he cries, not from sadness, but from relief, because finally, after years carrying that weight, the sacrifices had meaning. The deaths weren't in vain, and he can stop carrying that alone. For the first time, Levi can simply be Levi, not the strongest soldier, not the symbol of hope, just a man who did the best he could with what he had. The conclusion we draw about the character is that Levi isn't cold. He never was. He's someone who felt too much, lost too much, and learned that the only way to keep functioning was to control what could be controlled and accept what couldn't. The cleanliness, the coldness, the refusal to regret, all of this are tools, ways he found to survive in a world that constantly tries to destroy him. And the lesson he teaches is simple. You don't control the past, but you control how you react to it. You control whether you'll let regret paralyze you, or whether you'll use it to make better decisions in the future. That's the weight Levi carries, and it's exactly that which makes him human.